Hey everybody, it's Clint. Welcome to Sweetcast. I wanted to make a video about writing. I've been kind of getting a little bit tired of saying the same news story. It almost feels like the things are just coming and there hasn't been any like new interesting comic book news. It's kind of like news that's just confirming everything we've already known week in and week out. And so yeah, I kind of wanted to go a slightly different direction and get into process of making comics because really that's what I enjoy. But I saw this and I had to say something about it. So this is on the same channel. I'll probably make that video another time, by the way. I'm still going to make a comics writing video just because I feel like it. But for now, this came out. This was comic book news with Dan Shahin. And this is the same guy that has scored so many interviews with Steve Jeppy. I don't know how, because this video gets 181 views and he's got 1.58 thousand subscribers. I'm just shocked that this has become the gathering place for comic book professionals, big names in the industry to gather. But I guess good on him for getting that. But my point that I want to make here is that so often it has been strictly Comicsgate people, YouTubers that have been specifically saying that things are going bad in the comic book industry. And then you have the reaction from the comic book industry to be that you guys are fakes, phonies, you're making up stuff. You are ridiculous. Now, at the same time, when that happens, Dan Shahin will tell your boy Zach that doesn't know what he's talking about or he's full of it. You know, he'd say that. But then when you hear it coming from someone else, the reaction is completely different. This was Chuck Rosansky, and he was basically laid it all out on the table. I'm going to play just a little clip of this. This is him responding. And by the way, I got to show you this picture. Chuck Rosansky is the owner, founder of Mile High Comics. And yes, he posed shirtless in front of all of his comics. So I've got to show you that. But he seems like he's doing really well financially as far as comic books go. So far as retail goes, I think of all of the publishers, all of the retailers, he's one that really knows how to run business. And so he actually had quite a long thing to say here. I'm not going to obviously show the whole thing. Go over to Comic Book News with Dan Shahin. If you want to watch the rest, I would recommend it just to hear what Chuck has to say. But I'm going to play a little clip here for you. This is in response to, the question is there a point where there are so few comic shops that distributors become no longer financially viable, and do retailers have a plan if Diamond closes up? Again, this has been everyone's saying this. People are talking about it. Fans are talking about it. Let's hear what the response is from a retailer that knows what he's talking about.
Well, I think we're already past the tipping point, and that's where I keep referring to this, the kind of the dialogues that we're having about how to better sell new comics as you know, like trying to chart a new path for the Titanic. Really, what we have right now is an industry where, absent an infusion of external capitalization, an enormous number of comic shops are teetering on the edge right now. And maybe I'll end up being completely wrong. Maybe some of them will pull back. But going to something that was mentioned a little bit earlier about 20% of the revenues coming from back issues that take up 80% of the store. You know, we have that here at Mile High Comics. Back issues only constitute about 30% of our business, and trades constitute 30%, and then toys constitute about 30%. But there's an underlying basic reality, and that is that the products that we have here are ones that we own, ones that we don't have to order from the supply channel. And
I'm going to stop him there, but basically his point is, well, first he said a few things that comparing it to changing the direction of the Titanic after it started sinking, after it hit the iceberg, really, really strong words. And all you see are nods and agreement because Chuck is a different person. He's not deemed as evil or some kind of bigot. I don't, it's such a crazy thing. But he's saying essentially the same thing. But this is what really stood out to me. He's saying that most of his sales, 30%, come from back issues, 30% come from trades, and the other 30% come from toys. What percentage of that is new comics? Not a lot. Okay. What does that tell me? That doesn't tell me that new comics should never exist. What that tells me is if you're going to make a comic, you better make a classic. You've got to make something that people are going to want over time. I realize that that's a lot easier said than done, but I guess that's what I'm learning from it. So yeah, it's just really fascinating to me that you can have the virtually the same kinds of criticisms, the same kinds, not even criticisms, the same kinds of opinions based off of the reality that is coming, but because it's coming from the wrong person, everyone's gonna ignore it or deem it as not true. And so this was eye-opening, I think, to the 181 people that watched it. But yeah, just fascinating. Blew me out of the water that Chuck just, I mean, he just nailed it. So yeah, he be fine? Yeah, because he's figured out how to sell something. The other thing he mentioned is that there are many comic book shops who have become just an outlet for selling Diamond. This has been a criticism that I have had before in the past, and I think that it's totally true. How is it any different from one of those multi-level marketing companies if a company has they have some product, you have to buy X amount of product to get whatever price, and you got to try, and now it's yours to unload, right? They're not a partner with you. Diamond is not a partner with retailers for retailers to sell their product. Diamond is selling to retailers as the end customer. The thing is set up more like a scam than it is like an actual business that anywhere else work. You know, the way that things work anywhere else, because there is no competition. You're just selling something that you're getting from a distributor that you're getting for the same price as everybody else, unless you're, perhaps some of these Midtown Comics or something like that. But all you can do is buy their product from them and hope that it goes up in value for collectible reasons. Too many retailers, from Chuck's point of view, are not doing enough to diversify what it is that they're selling and to have value as a retail spot. You have more than just the Diamond catalog, because you can get the Diamond catalog anywhere. So what do you have? If you have those classics, I mean, I keep thinking, if I want to buy comics, like I kind of feel like spending some money. I want to buy some comics. What do I want to buy? I kind of want to keep working on my collection of Daredevil books, old 80s Daredevil books. Okay. There, some trade paperbacks I'd want to get, some hardcovers I want to get, but they're classics. It's not a lot of new stuff. And then obviously I'm most of my money is going to Indiegogo. Anyways, just some of my thoughts. Let me know what you think about all of this. I think it is super interesting to see what retailers have to say about this, and I hope that people start listening, because now the right people are agreeing and saying the same kinds of opinions. We'll see what happens. Let me know. Don't forget to back Downcast, Rise and Fall. Do you want to see something? I'm working on the Secret History of Strata. Let me pull this over. There you go. There's a page from it. I want to do a whole video from this, but this is just like prose. And then I've got, let's see, is there a picture here? There we go. There's one of the illustrations from it. This one's by Rob Geronimo. So this is really what I'm working on now. We're finishing up coloring on the main story, and this is all Secret History of Strata stuff that is turning my hair gray. So can't wait for it to get out. We'll get through it all. And yeah, I'll see you in the next video.